Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Hello, YouTube. I'm Nick,
And I'm Andy.
and we are Nick
Nick and
and
Andy.
Andy. Hello, YouTube. I'm Nick,
And I'm Andy.
and we are Nick and
And
Andy.
Andy.
Today, in today's academic discussion video, we are going to be um, delving into the intricate interwovenness that is the delicate art of collecting things. In some circles, this may be referred to as hoarding. However, for us who actually partake in it, we would gladly detest the calling such of these heinous insults.
Yeah, basically just collecting things. What do you collect? What do you like about them? And then just like kind of talking about it. Everybody, I feel like, collects something. Like even as a kid, like I remember walking in my driveway and like picking up cool looking rocks. And your mom is like, "What are you doing?" "I'm collecting rocks." Similar to our last video where we talked about, of course, the now famous million view video, what is your favorite type of cup? Um, what do you collect is kind of one of those things that is intrinsic to your personality. Like when you introduce yourself, somebody usually follows that up pretty quickly with, "And what do you like to do?" And for me at least, and I feel like for most people, the first thing that you jump to is, "Oh, I collect whatever," you know?
For me, that's not the first thing I offer up at all.
Okay.
But I think it's just the difference between a businessman and a man.
Okay, and you being the
I'm the businessman.
okay, so you're just straight to business.
Well, because if people want to know the personal details of my life, they're gonna have to earn that right?
Okay. And me on the other hand, I'm just a man. And I
Yeah,
you
like
want to
capital
know?
M.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, exactly. And like you may punch them right in the face too while you tell them.
That's fine. Yeah. I really collect two things, those being vinyl records and board games. So I'm going to start with the one that's much smaller in my love of those things, which is vinyl records. So I picked out a few that I wanted to showcase. The thing that I love about vinyl is you can listen to an album in one sitting and really capture like the artistic intent of what the artist wanted to put on that album. I'm sitting on about 50 right now, which I plan to expand soon. I actually just bought some yesterday. So I just wanted to showcase, um, and I'm gonna do the same thing for board games. My first one, my most recent one, and my favorite one. So my first one is Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. And my favorite track on this is the title track, Bridge Over Troubled Water. It's actually my favorite song of all time. Paul Simon is my second favorite songwriter of all time. My first favorite, I'm going to talk about here in a second. And I just love the album. It's their farewell album, their last one, and it's kind of Paul Simon because Garfunkel is about to go into this acting career. Paul Simon really saying like goodbye to a friend, and I really feel that in that album. My most recent one, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I already know that I love it because of my love for country music. I love country music. And then also this cover just says it all. George Jones, I am what I am. George Jones, in the middle of his career, had a huge falling out because of drinking and just having a habit of like not showing up to a bunch of his concerts. So he's kind of known as a jerk there for a while. But he had kind of a comeback, and this is that comeback album featuring greatest hits such as He Stopped Loving Her Today and If the Drinking Don't Kill Me, Her Memory Will. And He Stopped Loving Her Today is considered one of the greatest country songs of all time. I would personally put it in like top 5. So I'm excited to give this one a spin, but I haven't yet. George Jones, I Am What I Am. And that back album cover. Ooh, Nelly. And then lastly, my favorite record of all time from my favorite songwriter of all time, John Prine's latest album before he sadly passed away, The Tree of Forgiveness. I love the way that John Prine can write a story about himself and make you feel like the story's about you. and he has funny songs. They're not like goofy like Weird Al Yankovic, like I'm writing this to be a funny song, but he just has a sense of humor in his music that nobody else has. Yeah, and this is my favorite album because I think that Tree of Forgiveness captures that more than any of his other albums.
So this is not my primary collection in life, but I used to actually collect Pokemon games up until about Generation 5, as is evident by this poster. That's
Okay,
one part
for
of my.
those of us who know less about Pokemon, which games are Generation 5?
That's Pokemon Black and White, which is
Okay.
when they started to not be fun anymore. There was a time when I was on an airplane and it was a long flight, and so I had my Nintendo DS case with like all of my. And I guess I don't even think I had a case. I think I literally just had my Nintendo in there and like my Game Boy and all of the games just in there. And I think that when we landed, I left the whole entire bag on the plane. And so obviously like it was too late to go back and get it. And so in that bag was probably Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Soul Silver, which is the most regrettable loss by far. Probably Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, both of them. Maybe like Sapphire, because now what I have is Yellow, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Emerald, Platinum, and then some like I think I have Black and Black 2 and like Pokemon Y, but I've never played those very much because they're not that good. I actually one time I wish that I'm sure the paper is still somewhere. I once drew because it's very convoluted getting your Pokemon from like one generation of game to the next one. So
Right.
for example, for Gen 1 and Gen 2, which is red, yellow, and blue and green in Japan, and Gen 2, which is gold, silver, and crystal, you could put the Pokemon from Gen 1 to Gen 2. Obviously, you can't go backwards because the Gen 1 games didn't have the Gen 2 Pokemon yet. But outside of Gen 1 and Gen 2, you can't transfer onward to like the Game Boy Advance games. And so those were kind of a limited container of your Pokemon. And so I drew out this plan for my Gen 3, Gen 4, and Gen 5 games, because each game has a different set of Pokemon that you can catch, basically. And so I drew up this grand scheme of how to fill up every Pokédex in every one of the games in each generation and get them all into the final game, which was probably Platinum. And I had this whole plan drawn up, and I was doing quite well. I think that I caught just about every Pokemon in Fire Red, and then I had started working on Leaf Green to get all the ones that you couldn't catch in Fire Red. And somewhere along the way, I had to grow up.
What does that mean you had to grow up? You realized that they wouldn't transfer?
No, it just means I went to college.
Oh, okay. So you really did just grow up, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I could perhaps be considered an expert of Gen 1 through 4.
That's neat.
And yet that's not my primary collection.
Yeah, so my primary collection, and then I guess we'll go on to yours. So records is really a minor thing. My main one is board games. It has been said multiple times, and it's kind of an inside joke at this point, that you can take your greatest desire and multiply it by infinity. And that's my desire to play a board game in every single moment. Like this moment right now, even sitting with my games next to me, I kind of want to play a board game. I mean, I really do want to play a board game. Anyway, yeah. So I'm really, really into board games to the point. Yeah, we lived together for a year, and we were given each an armoire. I can't say that word very well. An armoire, with 3 shelves on the bottom for like clothes, and I used all of those 3 shelves for board games.
I said, Andy, where are your clothes?
and the clothes were under my bed.
Or just on the floor also.
Some of them were on the floor. Okay, so that all has to start somewhere. And the game that started it for me is Talisman. It's got a giant dragon on it. It's got a guy with a sword on it. This is an awful game. I would not suggest for anyone to buy this game. It's awful. There are a lot of things that I hate in board games. One of them is you don't get very many decisions. So Talisman takes that and is like, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're not gonna give you very many decisions. On your turn, you roll a die and you move that many spaces. Boy, Talisman is pretty awful. And not only that, it takes 4 hours to play. My most recent game is Flamme Rouge. It's about French bicycle racing in the 1920s. Which has a kind of similar mechanic, interestingly enough, that you just pick a card and you move that many spaces. But the difference being, it's not just like you draw a card and move that many spaces. You have a variety of choices and you pick one of the cards and move that many spaces. And there's neat mechanics in the game that come from like real life bicycle racing. Like you have two bikers and you can line them up so they draft each other. And there's like hills and valleys and all these neat things that make Flamme Rouge a really great game. I got it 3 weeks ago and I've already played it like 10 times because I love it so much.
Oui, oui, enchanté.
And then,
Pourriez-vous parler français?
oui. And then finally, my favorite board game of all time is Seven Wonders. This is a tremendous game. My brother before me collected board games, and this was the first like modern strategy board game that I played was Seven Wonders. And it's a neat concept of everyone gets to be their own civilization, and you're building like military and culture and economy and all these things. And at the end, you hope to have the best civilization, but you do so by you get a hand of cards and you pick one of them and put it face down, and everybody picks one at the same time and puts them face down. And then you do like a reveal, like a 3-2-1 flip, and everyone reveals, and then you pass your cards. So you're getting cards from somebody and you're passing cards to somebody. It's a really neat game. And I've played it probably over 100 times. I love Seven Wonders so much. I really do.
The main thing that I typically collect in my life, as is evidenced by this gigantic poster of the USS Enterprise on my wall, is Star Trek things. And that can be anywhere from toys to stickers to photographs to posters. Really anything you can think of would be something that I would purchase. So I've got a huge pile of crap here to show off. So first of all, I have this Spock bobblehead. Now, I don't know where bobblehead Spock came from. I've had him for like 7 years probably. He used to speak, and then there came a point when he wouldn't stop speaking because I guess the batteries were leaking. And so it's like you're supposed to shake him and then he talks. Well, then he would just sit up there and talk nonstop. Like a baby. And so I would just have to sleep with him, just talking all the time. And eventually he died and became a silent bobblehead. Anyway, I have this phaser with removable mobile thing. It is also used to make sound and doesn't anymore because I've had it for so long. A more specific vein of collection towards Star Trek memorabilia is novels. So these most recent ones that I bought are Star Trek Destiny books 2 and 3. I don't have book 1, but it's a never-ending search. I have probably 3 whole Walmart sacks of novels in this room. And then in my garage, I've got one of those big plastic tubs completely full with the top of it like bowing up because it's so full of just Star Trek novels. So I have a whole lot of those. I have only read not very many of them, but someday I will. And I've said that my whole life, someday I will. Also, naturally, we've got some action figures. So here's a lovely Lieutenant Worf in great zoom camera quality. We've got a Geordi LaForge from the
And
next generation.
these are mint in box.
Geordie LaForge is Lieutenant Worf. It looks like the seal is broken on the bottom of him, which is unfortunate. But it certainly has never been taken out of the box. And as for this Commander Riker, the seal has also been broken, unfortunately, but it has never been unboxed. And so I have a gazillion more of those somewhere as well. I also have this freaking Quark yo-yo. And I saw this, and it was $1. And so freaking obviously I had to get it.
And as long as it's mint in box, one day you'll get like $1.50 out of that.
You know, I don't think so because it used to be $3, but now it
dang.
is $1.
So you
I'll
gotta wait
probably
like
open
50
it.
years before it increases back to $3.
I'll probably open it someday and play with it just because that's hilarious. Now, of slightly more repute, I also have photos with many of the actors that played characters in Star Trek. So, for example, here's a picture of me with some Ferengi dudes, plus their autographs, of course.
I've never
Now,
seen that one.
This man right here, his name is Aaron Eisenberg, I think. And he is actually dead now. He passed away in a freak accident not too long ago. And when I met this man, I had, taken a picture with him and stuff, and then I went to his table to get his autograph. And we were just having a conversation. He was a cool dude. And he said, "Who do I make it out to?" And I said, "To Nick." And he said, "Nick, that's my son's name." And I said, "Wow, really?" And he said, "And you remind me a lot about him." And then he got really somber, and then he signed my thing, and then he didn't charge me for it.
I thought you were
And
gonna say he was gonna go like, "Nick, that's my son's name. I haven't seen him in 15 years." Then,
"Are you my son?" No, but it was a very sweet experience, and I remember him forever, and it made me very sad when I heard about his departure.
yeah.
Now, this one, I'm significantly uglier because it's a lot older, but at the same time, this picture is one of my most reputable and valuable ones, probably. It's very dusty and terrible. But anyway, this is me with William Shatner. Terrible, greasy middle school hair and all.
But William Shatner.
But William Shatner, exactly. And I think I have another one with him somewhere also, like from a different time, but I don't know where that one is. Anyway, that is my primary collection of works in this life.
That's really neat. Yeah, I think it's important to collect. I think there's something about being human that's like, I want to take something inanimate, something that really doesn't mean anything, and care about it, and in my own life make it mean something to me. Like, I have 50 of whatever, or I have 100 of whatever, and at the end of the day, whatever is different for everybody and doesn't really matter all that much, but we tend to take things and make them matter to us, which is neat.
I also believe that collecting is important because it's freaking fun and it gives you something to care about other than your life, you know?
Indeed. Indeed.
Okay, well, I guess, is that all that we want to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll outro us, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, well, everyone, I hope that you have all enjoyed embarking on this voyage to the final frontier of collections and such things. Let us know in the comments below what things you collect and what sort of things you maybe have wanted to collect, or maybe if you hate one of our collections, let us know that too. Live long and prosper. I'm Nick.
And I'm Andy.
And we are Nick and
Andy. Goodbye.
Bye. And then in the video editing software, you can